Hi there, I'm Karen McCarthy and it's time to Karen-ize. Today's Friday when we do crafting, and I'm going to do a couple of real simple and quick fall crafts for you today. Thanks to my subscribers before we get going. I sure appreciate everything that you do to help promote the channel. We are growing a little bit every day, which is so exciting. So if you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe. And remember, I'm going to have a little giveaway when I reach 500 subscribers. I'm about, well, at the time of filming, I am at 296, so it's a ways to go, but it could happen fast if enough people find the channel. Anyway, I'm going to be giving a little goodie box to someone who is making comments. So be sure to make a comment, even if you're just saying hi, or it's a beautiful day, or whatever. But if you can make comments about the projects, that would be great too. Or if you have ideas to make things simpler. Sometimes I make things too complicated, and I love getting ideas from people on how to make things simpler or better. So anyway, let's get on with the projects. So we're going to make these little hanging gnome ornaments out of clay pots. And I have 3 that I've already made. One in the red, one in green, and then I have another version with mop strings instead of the faux fur for the beard. And we're gonna just assemble one together. So I used these 1.5 inch clay pots that I got on Amazon. I'll try to remember to link that in the description. Sorry, I've been cutting fur and I have the little strings floating around getting in my mouth. So we're gonna do the yellow one. The yellow one has a little different texture. This yellow wasn't very pigmented. I should tell you the colors. This one is Deco Art Americana Primary Yellow. And then the orange I used was Pumpkin Orange from Anita's Acrylic Craft Paint. The green was Waverly Chalk Paint Celery. And the red is Deco Art Chalky Finish. And where's the color? I don't know. Oh, Rouge. Most of these paints are pretty old. I actually bought them from someone who was moving and couldn't move their craft thing, so I don't know, if they're still the same colors and all of that. But anyway, so this one, I just took one of those pouncing sponges and just pounced a 3rd coat on because 2 coats just didn't do it. And it gave it a really cool texture. I don't know if you can see it on the video or not. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the hanger. And I've just got some jute string and a bead. I'm just going to feed the jute string through the bead. And I'm going to figure out, I don't need all of this, it's a really long piece. And I'm just going to figure out the center and just tie a knot. You would think I'm making a clapper for a bell, but that's not quite what I'm doing. I just don't want this to move around a lot after, whoop, didn't get that cut even, after the thing is finished. So then I'm just going to feed those through the hole in the top bottom pot. It's going to be the top of the pot because it's going to be the top of his hat, but it's actually the bottom of the actual pot. I'm going to pull it tight and then just tie another knot right there. And then just knot the top for the hanger, and we're done with that part. I cut this a little too short. trying to keep it as long as I can and pull it through. I don't know what people are going to be hanging it on, so I don't want it to be too short for them. Okay. Now, I will say this took a lot longer than the fur. If you just kept it like this, it wouldn't take as long, but I like to unravel all of those so that it just does a little fluffier looking. If you do that, you're going to want to do another step that I'm not going to do with this. And that is, I don't know if you can see, let me get it open here. I went in and put a big glob of glue over the top of all of it because when you start unraveling it, all of the pieces are not necessarily glued on there and you want to make sure that they're still sticking. So I just put a bunch of glue in. See there, that one came out already because I missed it. And you don't want to pull on it very hard when you're unraveling. Okay, So I had 10 pieces for my beard, and I just took, these are the mop heads from Dollar Tree. So I took the strands and just cut them in half to start out with. And then, as long as this moves, it doesn't really matter if it's lined up or anything right now. So I'm not worrying about that. I'm just going to put, hopefully you can see, put a line of glue in here. And very quickly, I probably put too much because I'm probably not going to go that quickly, and it's going to cool off. This is a low temp gun, and they cool off much quicker than the high temp, but they are less painful if you get glue on your fingers. I'm just pressing those into that hot glue. All the way around. Come on. Some of them are trying to come unraveled already. I've got one more little dot that I need. And then just to make it a little easier, I'm going to put the big glob of glue. I might not unravel these. I might, see, they're sticking to my finger. I'm going to put the big glob of glue on now. Yep, I got hot glue on my finger. Look at my fingernails. I've been doing so much crafting. I don't know why I put polish on today. Okay, so I'm just going to get those all glued down as much as I can. Oop. Doing that uses a whole glue stick, I think. If it were just for me, I wouldn't worry as much, but since I'm taking them to sell, let me grab a little popsicle stick and try to squish those down into the hot glue, and hopefully it's not going to stick. Okay, so I think I got those pretty good. Of course, I've got glue strings. So the rest of these are just going to be, I mean, you could leave it like this. You don't have to put the hair on around the back like I did here. But I figure, you know, if it's hanging, sometimes it's twirling. If you've got hair on the back, then it doesn't look quite so bare, I guess. So I'm just going to flip this over out of my way. Just continue gluing that. Really sticking to my fingernails. And I did flowers for decorations. I was going to do some leaves, but all the leaves I had were way too big for these 1.5 inch pots. They would fit if you were doing the little pots that you can get from Dollar Tree. My glue gun is not cooperating. My glue isn't going into it. Let me get that part glued in and I will figure out what's going on. But I think those, even though they're small, I think they're too big for the hanging. These are perfect size, like if you have a little year-round tree or something like that. I don't know if you can see those glue strands, but my goodness. Let's get this glued on here better. Okay, there we go. I think I used 3 full strands to cut the ones for the hair. I think it was 3. So you need about 8 strands of at least the size from the Dollar Tree. I don't know if other mop heads are longer. I know industrial mop heads are, because the ones we had at the youth center were much longer than these. All right, let me get that smushed in there again. It's trying to take the, Yeah, I mean, I think they're cute with the mop heads, but I'm not sure time-wise if they're worth it. I mean, if you're only making a couple, but if I were to make a bunch for a bazaar, I think I would be a little crazy by the end. Okay, so now we don't want the beard to be all the same size, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do this so that you can see it totally. I'm going to count 2, 4, 6. Okay, these 2 are going to be the longest ones. Just a sec, I have got to get that hot glue off my hands. Okay, so I'm going to make them the same length. They were a little bit different. And then I'm going to cut at an angle. It's easier when I could just hold it up and do it. And just cut up so that I've got the tapered part of the beard. Now the second side, whoops. Oh God, I got that gnome fuzz flying around. The second side, I'm going to have to hold up like this because I'm not going to be able to get it to match. And I won't be perfect, I'm sure. Okay, so now we've got the beard. Let me get all these out of the way. My goodness, I wonder if my glue stick or glue gun is on its last legs. I haven't had it even a year, but I do use it a lot. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Let me look at my camera and see if you can. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. So I'm going to get this turned so that the hanger is going to be facing the nose, and the nose is going to go right above these longest ones. So it's centered on the beard. Goodness. And I just kind of glue it half on the pot and half on the beard, and I just, yep, it went through the beard because it went through to my fingers. Let me clean off my glue gun again. Oh, God. I grabbed a paper towel that had a bunch of fur fuzz on it. Ay, ay, ay. You know what might be going on too? There have been a couple of times that I forget to unplug my glue gun, and sometimes it's a couple of days before it can get back down to the craft room. So, okay. Now the flowers, I cut off the part that pokes out in the back, and if you hold it real carefully, you can get it glued on before it starts falling apart. I stick a glob of glue on there. And I like to put it kind of at an angle so it's angling towards the front. Whoops. Oh, I kind of like it there. Maybe it was supposed to go there. And then I have, where is it? I have little gingham bows that I got. I mean, sometimes I get them on Amazon. Sometimes I get them on Temu. So I just never know where I'm getting them. And I kind of glue that right onto the jute string knot. And that's going to make it not move around. And then put a little bit, I like to accent with buttons. Put a little bit of glue there and angle the button down. And there you go. So let me know, with the mop heads, do you like it like this better, unraveled, or do you like it raveled? And do you like the mop head beard better than the faux fur or the faux fur? Anyway, there we go, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. I did a video, oh gosh, a few weeks ago, decorating a rolling pin. I had, just a sec, I gotta get all these, whatever they are, off my surface. I had several rolling pins given to me, and I had been wanting to do something with them, so I just made a little farmhouse rolling pin, and that sold very quickly at the, at the last bazaar that I was at. Let me make sure that I am in frame here. I'm notorious for getting out of frame. So this one I had, it's got a really cool finish on it. It's not unfinished wood like other rolling pins were, and I went back and forth on what I wanted to do with it. The other one I used Dollar Tree stickers. I didn't think they would show up super well, but then I got to thinking, it's going to roll here. Let me see. Let's put this here and I'll stop it maybe. Oh, nope, it won't. It's not heavy enough. Let's put one of my little mushroom gnomes that are waiting to be painted. I got to looking through all my fall stuff, and I saw this napkin, and I thought that it would look really cool decoupage on like most of the rolling pin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I don't remember. I think I got these at Dollar Tree, but I've had them for a couple of years. They're really cool because they have a recipe for skillet cornbread next to them. And someday I will use one of my other ones and make a plaque with that, because I love putting stuff in my kitchen if I have room. I have very little decorating space there. But anyway, that have something like this on it. So I'm going to use my water pen. If you haven't seen me do this before, actually I don't need to, because with this I do want, ow, sorry, my chair was on my panel leg and I kicked myself getting it off. I want a straight edge. So I'm going to leave the plies together. I'm just going to cut this off right along that edge. If you don't want the straight edge to show, like if I were cutting out these pumpkins, instead of cutting them out with scissors, you just cut them out with water. So I have a water pen, but you can use a damp paintbrush, and you just kind of draw around it and then hold on to the picture itself and pull away that wet spot. And that jaggedy kind of rough, raggedy look that you get actually blends in as long as the surface is the same color. So if I wanted to do that with something like this, I would want to have a white surface. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's see what this is going to look like. I'm wondering if I want more or less, but I'm afraid if I try to cut it, you can see I'm not the straightest cutter. It's not going to matter too much because I am going to put an edge. Let me just fold it just slightly and see if I want it a little small. Yeah, I think I do. So I'm going to, I've been out of frame, I can tell. It's going to be easier if I just separate the plies because they're wanting to. When you decoupage, you do want to separate the plies. This is a 2-ply, so it probably was from Dollar Tree. You just use this like you would a paper towel or a napkin. And I'm going to cut off part of this side. So I'm just going to line up these edges that I know are straight and make a crease so that I have the straightest edge possible, and that does not look straight. I told you I'm the queen of crooked. Nope, still not. I can fix a little bit if it's just a little bit crooked when I put the trim on, but okay. That looks better. All right. You have to be pretty careful once you've taken the plies apart because the napkins are a little delicate then. I can see that fold better on this side, so let me just cut that off. I can't believe, it's hard to start thinking about fall right now. I live in Montana. We had a really late summer. I mean, we didn't even really get summer till I think the middle of July. And now, of course, the whole country seems to be having a heat wave. So it's like 80s, 90s, and 100s around here is like really hot. So it's hard to think about fall, but if you don't start making things now, you're too late. I was going to say there's a crease here, but I don't think that's going to matter because the Mod Podge will take care of part of that and the trim will take care of the rest. All right, so here's the tricky part, getting it on straight to begin with. And with one ply like this, you can actually just put it on the surface and put Mod Podge on it. You don't have to put Mod Podge on first, which is a little bit safer because if you put the Mod Podge on, then put it on, you may or may not be able to adjust it. Sometimes I can adjust it and sometimes I can't. I'm trying to see. Oh, we have really bad smoke right now, and if I'm sniffling, please forgive me because, the smoke is just really wreaking havoc with my sinuses. And I can't imagine firefighters. All right. Let me get a little ruler and see if I am about 1 1/8 inches. Yeah, am I going to be able to do this? Okay, that's pretty close to center. So I am just going to tack down parts of it so it'll stay. and then I'll be able to manipulate it a little bit better. I am just going to put Mod Podge all the way to the edge so the whole thing has the same finish. The Mod Podge, if you haven't used it, goes on white, but it dries clear. And you want to be careful that you're not overstroking with the brush, because these napkins get super fragile and they will tear pretty easily. So don't do it super hard either. And you might get a few wrinkles. Oh dear, I took my cellophane and I put it in the garbage. I was cleaning up. There we go. If you need to work something out, use cellophane or a grocery bag or something like that, because it won't stick to that where it will stick to your fingers. So I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit with that. Okay. Yeah, it's wanting to move and wrinkle. Some napkins are a little harder to do than others. I mean, none of them are hard, but the cheaper the napkin, of course, the thinner it is, and the more it's going to try to move around on you. Oh boy, this is really wanting to wrinkle. I'm just going to be really careful and smooth it out there. I'm working on 3 other farmhouse designs. If I get those done before I post this video, I'll just show you those just so you can see some different examples. But ooh, it is trying to raise. I don't know why I'm having that trouble. The last 2 times I've decoupaged, it is not, maybe it's because I'm not putting the Mod Podge down underneath. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna do it. Now that I've got it where I want it, I am just going to do it. I think for me, I have better luck, I think. So I'm just going to do one little section at a time. Yeah, I think that's my problem. For some reason, it doesn't work for me as well to not put the Mod Podge under. Now I've got some wrinkles there. Just going to pull it up very gently. I don't mind a few wrinkles. It just kind of gives it a vintage look. But if you're OCD on wrinkles, it could be a problem. Okay. So I had a lady stop by the last bazaar, and she was looking at the rolling pin that I have. She hasn't contacted me yet, but it's someone that I know, so I know she will. She said that she has either her mom or her grandma's, I think it was her mom's, rolling pins that she was given to after she died, and she wants me to do one of these with her mom's actual rolling pin, which I thought was really cool. Just a sec, I've got to turn this heat off. All of a sudden it got really hot. I know we have 100-degree temperatures, but I'm in the basement and it's always cool in this basement. Anyway, I thought that's a cool keepsake. I have, what do I have? And then it's in the garage somewhere. I've got to find it. I have my grandma's old coffee grinder. It's like a wooden box that's a little bit decorative, not real bad, or I shouldn't say bad, but, and I thought, oh, I should do something with that. Okay, I'm getting to the part where I've already done it, and it's getting Mod Podge all over my mat, and I don't want it to stick to my mat either. Anyway, I thought it'd be really cool to do something with my grandma's coffee grinder, because I had, in my old house, I had a lot more decorating space than I have in this house. But I do have a place that I could make room for it. Uh-oh. I see that I have gotten a little bit crooked because I'm not quite lined up. So now, let's see if I can line it up better. Whoops, knocking things around. That's the problem with a round surface. Well, I'm just going to have to do something. Whoops. Oh no, now I tore it. I'm just going to have to do something with that. Let's see, what can I grab to lift that up without touching it? Yeah, I'll put something here. Maybe I'll just put that trim right across there and nobody will be able to tell. All right, let me just trim that off. Then we're going to have to wait for it to dry for the next step. So I will come back as soon as it's dry. All right, it is dry. I did have a bit of an issue. I don't know if you can see. For most of it, the white background of the napkin just kind of faded away, which I love. But in some places it did not. I tried putting another coat on. I think what happened is I forgot totally to take rubbing alcohol and just clean this surface off really well in case there was anything on it, you know, like grease or anything. So I would not ever sell this, but I can turn it to a decent place in my kitchen and have it for me. I still really like how it looks. But like I say, I wouldn't sell this. I did have to put some super glue in here because the handles, they're not real snug and they kept sliding back and forth. So for what I'm going to do to decorate there, I wanted it to be stationary. So I have some of this, what do they call it? Burlap trim from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to put that right around the edge here. I think that'll be neutral enough that it's not going to stick out really bad, but it's going to look really cool. But I want to see which part I want up when I'm displaying it. I think I'm going to have this, even though there's a little bit of white here. I love those blue pumpkins. So I am going to make sure that I start the trim here so that I'm not ending on the part that's going to be facing up, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue there, and I had a hot glue booger. Whoop, it's wanting to stick. Yeah, okay. And then I will just lay this down. Let me just take this off of the cardboard. I do have another pack, so if there's not enough, I have more. It's not a good thing, especially when you live half an hour away from any store, to run out of something in the middle of a project. Actually, it's more than half an hour now because of all the road construction, but okay. If you're not in Montana, do you have road construction all summer like we do? The winters are very hard on our roads, I think. Okay, so there's that side. Now let me... Wow, I did that so well I can hardly tell where it starts and stops. So that worked out really well. Not quite sure where I'm going to put this. I took down my summer decorating. All summer I had lemon theme and watermelon and things like that. And I didn't take down my honeybees and that kind of thing yet because I'm not quite ready to haul out all of the fall decorating stuff, but I did start decorating my deck for a little bit of fall. That was in a previous video. There will be more added to it as fall really gets here. Although, oh, we have so much wind, and last night Monday I got that new deck, I guess it is, not a patio, all decorated, and I was so happy with it. And I was sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden we got almost like hurricane type wind, and half my decorations were across the yard, almost out in the street. I was not happy, but I hopefully figured a way to anchor some of them a little bit better. Okay, so there's that. Just kind of adds a little bit to the edges of the design. And then, I don't need my hot glue gun anymore. I think what I'm going to do, I have this kind of a burnt orange gingham and some... This is a little bit paler than this, but let me see here. I might be able to use this. I want to just tie some kind of a bow or something on the... Oh, let me get this down here so it's not crinkling in your ear. I hate that when there's a video and it's so crinkly sounding. I'm trying to find the edge here. There it is. Let's see what this will look like. I think it'll tie okay. So let me get... I think I'll make it about this long. I'm going to put 2 of the burnt orange gingham and 1 of the burlap. Whoops. What am I doing? Well, I'm going to need another one anyway, so I'll just cut it. I need one for the other side. Okay. So I'm just going to, that one's already done. Just going to notch the ribbons just like this. I want to make sure they're all going the same way. And this one, I'm going to put just a tiny bit of hot glue there because I don't want it to unravel. I'm going to get my fingers. That wasn't too hot. I thought it was going to be hotter than that. Oh yeah, that time it was. Okay. Let me get the other side done also. Make sure they're the same length here. I get a little bit of hot glue on my thumbs or my fingers and I'm just totally uncoordinated. I don't know if anyone else is that way. Okay. Then I'm just going to put these right here. And I don't even know if I'm going to tie a bow. I think I'm just going to tie just a knot so it doesn't come off. There. And let's do another one for the other side. Get them notched. So tell me what you do to decorate. Do you do just fall? I just do fall. I don't do Halloween. Do you do just fall? Do you do some fall and then Halloween? Do you do Halloween and then fall and Thanksgiving? What kind of decorating do you do this time of year? Or do you just not even do anything like that, but you just like watching other people's projects? I would love to see pictures of your projects too, if you can post any. All right, let's get this so they're in the same spot. I'm just going to touch a little bit of glue so that that's not twirling around all the time. And there. All right, so just some cool ideas to do with rolling pins. If you saw my last video that I talked about rolling pins, and then this one, I just think they're kind of fun to have someplace in the kitchen, although they don't have to be limited to the kitchen. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.